focus on at least 4 or 5 mega risks that affect your business model today. Don't focus on more, because you can't do so much at the same time. Be strategic, figure out what do you have control over and what's the level of difficulty on that risk, and build a strategy for it. Now, this framework also mimics another framework that is very popular in business today, an inverse correlation on control and difficulty for 4 very, very common business situations that we see a lot, and you'll recognize this. It's called VUCA. What is the level of complexity that affects us? What's the level of uncertainty that affects us? And how much ambiguity exists in our industry? So you use VUCA, Airbnb. All millennials today prefer the sharing economy to the traditional economy. So what does that mean for Marriott? What does that mean for Hilton? What does that mean for the address? That's ambiguity. We don't. 2015, they'll turn 20. They don't exist. Russia has a massive bottleneck in its talent system that will take 40 years to work its way through and exit. And over the next 40 years, it has bounced back, the birth rate has bounced back, but over the next 40 years, it will face a severe shortage in talent terms. Okay, where's India? We're going further east. I'll come back to the UAE last. Where's India? Anyone? Top right? Okay, you're right. India is here, just above Vietnam. On average, growth is about 7%, but growth of manpower is only 4%. Where's China? Where's China? Same? Next to Russia? China has grown more than Russia. China's here. Grown at 8.5% on average. The workforce shrinks by 2%, similar to the US, as China ages in the one-child policy and so on and so forth. Now, why is this important? Why am I showing you this? This is all academic stuff. Till you use it to build a business viewpoint. And here's how we're going to build it. If you speak to GDP economists, you speak to people who study this axis and put this number together for us across the world, what they will tell you is the following. They will say that you can grow an economy about 1% a year, or maybe 1.5% a year in a jobless manner. Right? So technology improvements, more efficiency, higher productivity, so many things that business owners can do to do more with less. You know, we bring in, McDonald's has these new machines that you can go and punch in your order, you need fuel, you know, so on and so forth. You can use technology, you can use productivity, better hours, better structuring, improving your organization structure so you have fewer wasted roles and so on and so forth, to grow the economy about 1% or 1.5% without adding a single job. This is what we hear as jobless growth across many Western markets. We're growing, but we're not adding to the economy. But beyond 1.5%, to grow 3, 4, 5, 6%, you have to have more people doing more work on an annual basis. So more factories, more investment, more production, more consumption, so on and so forth. The economy has to add to its workforce in order to grow. So using this as a perspective, this is what I call the war for talent line. Okay? If you're above this line, you will have more talent chasing relatively more jobs, but fewer than the number of talent coming in. So basically that ratio is improving. Your long list becomes longer if you're above this line. If you're below this line, you have more jobs being done by fewer people. And yes, I know mechanization and I know all of that stuff. That stuff is built into that 1%. Okay? Remember that. So jobs are not going to go away. They're not going to suddenly disappear. In a 10-year time frame, it's a short term. It's absolutely irreversible that we will need more people if your economy is growing by 5, 6, 7, 8%. So in those terms, you can look at this and almost predict what's going to happen to India versus China, for example. We can say it's going to be twice as bad compared to today. The war for talent will be twice as bad in China as it will be in India. Looking at this, you know that places like Russia are going to be in deep trouble. Fewer and fewer people with more and more jobs. Retention is going to be massive. See, I stay in Singapore. Look at where Singapore is. Down here. Look at where Hong Kong is. Down here. Massive issues. The war for talent is set to get worse for many of these markets. Now, where's the UAE on this? The last one. Which of these 4 quadrants? Top one? Bottom? Yeah? The UAE is here. So yes, the war for talent will get worse. And what that means is quite a dire trend to start with. But what it means is we have to get better at managing both the macro and the micro realities of our workforce. Getting them more engaged, getting them more connected, designing jobs that make sense for them, that allow them to feel great, feel good about their contribution. Because it's not going to get easier. If we're struggling today and we don't change, we're going to struggle even more. That's the first meta trend that the data sort of shows us, right? This is 10 years. Remember, 10 years is the short term from a policy perspective. You cannot change education in 10 years. You cannot change migration in 10 years. You can't bring 1 million people into the UAE job market in 10 years. Where will they stay? Where will their kids go to school? How will society tolerate that kind of increase? You can't. So 30 years, yes, education is a policy move. You can educate more people, bring them, improve their capability. 30 years, mobility is a policy move. 10 years, this is our reality. We have to get better. The second meta trend that I want to spend a few minutes on is, in fact, a bolt-on shift that is happening to the dynamics of the talent economics of our global environment we just saw. Keep that aside. Now let's move forward. And in fact, when I started writing about this in talent economics, it was still out there. But today, by 2016, I think it's already starting to happen. By 2025, so the first one was 2020, this one is 2025. By 2025, our current talent toolkit is totally redundant. Totally redundant. Given the era of capability management we will be in. So everything we do around acquisition, throw it away. Everything we do around development, throw it away. Every single thing we know about retention, about engagement, throw it away.